Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be doing some gardening and chatting. I'm sort of an amateur at gardening, but what that really means is I just wing it. Don't worry about that plant on the floor. The rain and wind threw him down because he's too tall for his pot, like he doesn't have weight at the base. So he just falls down, but we're gonna fix him today. So these plant pots you're seeing, I purchased them from Island Planters a while ago, and I'm so excited to try them out. They are so gorgeous. They have like a really nice, elegant look. The shape is like very harmonious and the colors are really pretty. They also seem very durable, well made, and 100% recyclable, which is really good. I got 2 from the Cylindra series and 1 from the Bowler series. Also, look at my super cute gardening gloves. They're so nice. Are you normal, or do cute stuff like motivate you to do all your tasks? Okay, so I'm getting started with my fiddle leaf. Yes, I know he's in a bad state, but just hear me out, okay? He was so healthy and he was doing so well, he was thriving. And then one of my family members, like, accidentally, they didn't really know that different like conditions could affect houseplants, so they moved them from like where they were to a spot where it was getting like way more direct sunlight, and like all his leaves burnt. And then he moved again with me when I was moving, so yeah, he was just going through shock after shock. And in this new environment, he was also getting less water. But I mean, plants are just like us, like they need time to acclimatize to a new environment. They need water and they need to have appropriate conditions for them to thrive. But he was holding on to life even though he was going through so much stress. A lot of his leaves dropped off, and yes, that hit me. Plant moms, you get me. But I'm trying to revive him, so I hope he's gonna get healthy again. He was very dry, so I'm a little bit concerned about him, but I hope he's gonna just start living healthily again. I trimmed some of the dead roots and I'm washing it out to just get off any like dry soil and to kind of like rehydrate him a little bit. This dark gray pot, it just looked aesthetically best with his look. So I'm rehousing him in here. He looks better already, right? Right? Please reassure me in the comments. I also could have had like a little trowel to, you know, like scoop out the soil and put it in like calmly, but I didn't have that, so I just had to make do with what I have, and I had to pick up the whole bag of soil and like throw it in, which was a little chaotic, but it wasn't too bad. Sometimes you don't need to have like, well, the whole kit and everything fancy. You can just do it what you have and it works out just fine as well. That's a life lesson. I'm giggling because these life lessons are for myself, and if you resonate, then it was for you too. Anyways, did you know that the female fiddle leaf actually produces a fruit which is edible, but it doesn't taste that good, so you probably wouldn't want to eat it? I didn't know that before, and if you didn't know, now you know.
So now you know.
So on to the next plant. I have to be honest, I am not exactly sure of the name of this plant, but I think it's this Dracena marginata. I actually had to look it up because I forgot, but I think that this is what he is based on the pictures. I mean, in the pictures, you know, the leaves were a little more like out and like spiky and like up, but maybe he's just very droopy because he is very thirsty, so maybe that's why. But I don't know, it looks a little bit different. Tell me what y'all think. Look at these side-by-side photos. I had to cut the pot off of this one because he was very root bound and very dry, but it was just a nursery pot that he came in. I have to admit though, it looks a little bit cool how the roots are like wrapped around like that. I know it's not the most healthy, but it looks really cool. He really needed some water. So I'm gonna have to use the washing out technique because I cannot break up the roots like I did with the other one. Ideally, he should probably get like soaked in a tub of water to just like rehydrate and like break up all that loose soil. But I don't really have time for that, so I'm just gonna have to like wash him out and try to just like untangle the roots a little bit. I also clogged the sink drain while doing this, but that's okay, I'll clean it up after. I'm untangling the roots very carefully because they were really compacted and the soil inside of there was super dry. The roots were very tightly wrapped together. I finally got them off and I washed out all that soil. Like some of the roots came off. I didn't see that I needed to trim them really because they weren't that long. But some of them like came off naturally, which I think that was enough. I actually think I was wearing the glove on the wrong side. So I got like super wet and dirt on the front. And this is the waterproof side. Yeah. Oh well. So time to put him in his new home, this beautiful rust colored pot. I think that pot just looked the best with him, like he just looked good in there. So that's the one he got. And he got a lot of water, fresh soil, so hopefully he's gonna feel much better. So now I'm just cleaning up some smaller plants which I had. And yes, I was in this weird squat. I don't know why, it just felt the most comfortable. And I mean, I was also getting some stretching and some exercise, so I mean that's good. Does anybody else like garden in that position, or is that weird? I honestly wasn't feeling too relaxed when I started gardening, maybe because of the dire condition that my plants were in, but at this point I did start to feel a little bit better and kind of like get more into the flow of the gardening and relax a little bit. And I was actually enjoying working with the plants and like decompressing. So let me tell you a little backstory that I was just thinking about while I was raking hair. Actually, I got into gardening during the pandemic. And this is a tangent, but I think that even though there was like a lot of like negativity and stress and worry at the time, like some positive things also came out of the experience for some people. Were you one of those people? I was like able to slow down and I think just appreciate like smaller things in life, just like the day-to-day stuff, you know, that you don't always notice. And I think that it really shifted my perspective in terms of what is important to me in life, like a much slower pace of life, like more intentional living, how I would want my day-to-day life to look like. And I actually had some time, well not time, but I guess mentally I had more free time to kind of like get into hobbies that I wasn't able to do before. And I also picked up the hobby of gardening, which I'm really glad I did because I really enjoy gardening and I love plants. I always liked plants, but I got like more of appreciation for them, I think, during the COVID times. Yeah, and we just like, my family spent more time together and I think that it felt somehow more relaxing, even though you had like all these worries in the back of your mind. You kind of just had to like appreciate everyday moments and try to find like the positivity in the situation. So I feel like that brought about some good to like my overall outlook on life, I guess. And I also feel like the days were less overstimulating. Do you feel like that too, or is that just me? But yeah, so I just combined plants that were in two separate pots. I had these caladiums that were two different variations, like the leaves had slightly different variations, but I just put them both together so they could look like a little bit more full. And also I have these other plants, which is the Triostar stromanthe, maybe. They were my newest plant to take care of, and I haven't gotten like the hang of them, you know. I feel like when you get a new plant, you kind of have to like feel it out, see what they need and like how they are thriving in your environment, like how much watering they need, how much light they need in your specific environment. And the thing about plants is I feel like to take care of them, you have to kind of observe them because they can't really talk, but they still communicate. So you kind of have to see their needs through how they're doing. And it's pretty interesting, and it's also kind of like insightful for life as well, because you kind of have to do the same thing in relationships. And I'm also learning the same thing with babies, because babies can't really talk. They still communicate, so you have to like read through what they're trying to say and figure it out. And I think that's really very, you know what I mean? Do you? I don't know. I just go off on these random tangents. Your mind is kind of relaxed when you're gardening too, so you just have all these different thoughts. But yeah, like I said, I'm not a professional by any means. We just gardening and yapping. Okay, so that's all I did with my plants today. Now I'm just gonna clean up. And I have to say, you know, there's recently been like a return to like grandma hobbies that's kind of trending, with like knitting and crocheting and baking and also gardening, and the benefits that they have to like your mental health and everything. And you really do feel a difference, you know, while engaging with these activities. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air for your brain. But doing these hobbies is supposed to improve your cognitive function because of the nature of the repetitive tasks and the relaxing, and your mind kind of gets into like a flow state. You should definitely read up about it a little bit. But I do think that maybe power washing should be on that list, because it was kind of calming to see the water just like washing away the dirt and the sound of the water. And I feel like just standing up there, you know, like doing a kind of like repetitive task, but it was like calming at the same time. I mean, it was also engaging because, you know, you have to like follow the hose and wash down everywhere. I can't explain exactly why, but I feel like it's kind of the same. It's like watching those rug cleaning videos in real life. If you know, you know. But you just get into this kind of like quiet flow while you're doing it. So I mean, that has to be good for the mind somehow, the mental. Before gardening today, I really wanted to use these pots because I bought them like a few months ago, and they were just sitting there, and every time I would stare at them, I would be like, I need to do my gardening and I need to use my pots because I really want to try them out and they're so pretty. And I just didn't really like, I wasn't able to like allocate the time. So then this day today, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. Can't even take that long. So I just did it, and I'm really glad I did. Not only did my plants look much better and stop falling down, but I felt better as well. It was like a mentally engaging task and also a pleasant result, because you get to see the fruitful results of all your hard work. It gave way to like a sense of like calm accomplishment, you know, very unlike the dopamine hit of just scrolling on your phone. You actually engage in something physically and relaxing mentally. So I'd say that the gardening session today was definitely a success. Thanks for spending this time with me, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe so we can have more chill time together. See you in the next one. Bye!